Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Altcoin Daily with Bitcoin Gorilla. Today, we're going to be talking about ONT. So, this is going to be a multi-time frame analysis, which means we're going to be looking at the weekly chart, the monthly chart, daily chart, and if time permits us, we're also going to be looking at the 4 hours chart. Remember, this is a pure price action analysis, no indicators is allowed, and this is just me sharing my opinion. So this is no financial advice, but if you find this quite interesting, do give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Hello, my subscribers. Thank you for 300 subscribers. And I want to say I really appreciate your comments. I do read them. And when I find time, I will reply to all of them. So let's look at ONT current market statistics. But remember, this video is going to contain also the fundamental analysis to help you enable you understand what is ONT. So the current statistics, the market is currently trading at the price of 0.4981 cents, of which it has actually seen an upside move of about 8.46% to the upside. Like I said, the current statistic market cap, if you don't know what market cap is, it is the total market value of a cryptocurrency that is currently in supply, that is in circulatory supply. So the current market cap is around 435.982921 million dollars. That is what the market cap is. Now, if we talk about the circulatory supply, then you're talking about the amount of coins that are in circulation currently in the public hand. Then the current total supply and the current circulatory supply of ONT token is around 875.249524 million tokens. That is about, yeah, million tokens. So approximately we're talking about 875.249 million tokens. Now, if we talk about the total supply, now, if you don't know what total supply is the amount of coins that has been already been created minus any amount that has been burnt. So, and remember, it is the what? It is the total that has already been created. So the total token supply is around 1 billion token, which means about 88% is already in circulation, right? So another figure and data we should take note of is the maximum supply. If you don't know what maximum supply is the maximum amount of coin that will ever exist. There cannot be any maximum supply than this. So ONT has a maximum supply of about 1 billion token. Once it's exhausted and is all in the public hand, there's nothing again to supply. If you don't know, some cryptocurrency has unlimited supply, right? Maximum unlimited supply. So they don't have a particular figure for their maximum supply. Example of such tokens is Dogecoin. So take note of that. So after knowing this figure, I think another good figure we should take note of is the all-time high and the all-time low compared to the current price. So the all-time high of the token was about $11.18. That was around 4 years ago. Why? That's quite a long time. Around May 2018, the price has lost about 90% of that move. That is why it's currently trading about around 0.49. So it has lost about 95% of that move to the upside. If we check the all-time low, the lowest the price has ever also hit was around 2 years ago, which is at the price of about 0.225 cents, which means it has seen an upside of about 120% to the upside since it hit that low. So this is their website. You can see trust redefined. But before we go further looking at the price, what is ontology? Now, if you don't know what ontology is a high performance open source blockchain specialized in digital identity and data. Now, what makes them unique is the infrastructure support, that robust cross-chain collaboration, and layer 2 scalability, offering businesses this flexibility to design a blockchain that suits their need with a suite of decentralized identity and data sharing protocol to enhance speed, security, and trust. You see, one thing about this ontology is the fact that ontology offers a varieties of real life use cases. Now, this is not the same with so many cryptocurrency. The fact that this helps you form a digital identity and allows businesses to build their own blockchain. Now, did you see that uniqueness? Their own blockchain, which means you have the opportunity to customize the blockchain to fit your business, no matter your business, whatever. Maybe because the thing about blockchain is most blockchain is you they resemble each other, but now you can customize the functionality of your blockchain to fit your business. Now, the thing is also is that in terms of features like governance and enhanced privacy functionality that competitors like Ethereum and Neon lack. If you go to Ethereum blockchain, all of them look alike. All the apps, they all look alike. Those apps that are built on Ethereum, they look alike. They are this the same thing, right? Now, internet and all of that. Now, one thing about ontology blockchain, you will not even know it is built on top of ontology because now the business can customize it to fit their own. And again, the ONT token itself, you see, ONT chain also helps navigate transaction network fees by generating and distributing free ONT or ontology what gas to ONT holders. So if you are a holder of ONT, you get that gas fee given to you free. So that's one of the advantages. You see, ontology, they further provide additional features such as smart contracts, cryptographic identity proof, that is the ONT ID, and the tokenized data DDSF that can be seamlessly be transferred between different blockchain. So this is the website, and you can see what they said. Now this has a lot to do with Web3 because Web3 has to do with security, and this brings trust, privacy, and security to Web3. When you're building on Web3 with ontology, it gives you a kind of uniqueness to your own business, the high speed, the low cost, and everything, right? It just brings a decentralized identity to the data solution in Web3. So if you really want to know more about ontology, it's good to visit their website and learn more about what they have to offer, because in this video I'll be focusing more of my time on the price. So let's look at the price. So I'm going to first of all start by getting my support and resistance lines. Remember, this analysis, the strategy I'm using is called the Bitcoin Gorilla strategy. I developed it myself, so if it's strange to you, I won't be surprised. You shouldn't be. So it's a strategy I developed myself, but it's a pure price action strategy. So if you're a price action trader, it's going to make a lot of sense to you. I'm not going to be using any indicators. So first of all, what I did is to get, this is weekly chart. I get the obvious support and resistance areas on my chart. Now, one thing about my strategy and why I developed it is because I understand that lines are not good enough for, based on my experience and my trading, is that I got to learn that lines are not good enough to give me the actual entry or exit. Most times my stop loss get haunted, right, as a result of these lines getting pierced up and then the price pulling back up, kicking me out of trade, and the price continue to the upside. It happens a lot of time. Now you must know this strategy is still under development. I am still growing because crypto is still freshly new and volatility of crypto change every day. And this strategy I developed it basically on crypto. So the volatility and the style, the laws. Now I have a lot of laws that I use to be able to successfully trade this strategy. So that is my support area. So like I said, the strategy is basically on support and resistance. So it's easy if you're into price action, you easily understand. So this is my support area, and I'm also going to go ahead and get my resistance area. Now you can see that this dump that took place, if I'm going to scroll back, this is the daily chart. So you can see that we had quite some intraday support, right? So I would like to take note of them. This is intraday. We're on daily chart, so it was more like a 4 hours support and resistance, though they got easily broken each time price got to them. You can see them, they got easily charted. So this is going to help me finish drawing my chart. So I'm going to get the resistance area. So this is my resistance area of the box. So now I have a support and a resistance area. Very interesting. So I'm going to go back to that 4 hour daily chart, and I'm going to try to see if I can get buyer's line and seller's line. But before I go and get that buyer's line and seller's line, I can tell you that obviously price has seems to have respected something happening right here. So I'm going to take note of it this way. It's even more like here, right there. Now there's a particular scenario that has played out here, and so I'm also going to get the support and resistance of this point, and I also get the support. I'm going to change this to red, and this as well, red. So no, I don't. I want the main distance as yellow. So now I'm going to, now that I've gotten the box, I want to see the patterns, the price action patterns that are forming inside the box. So I'm going to try as much as possible to connect the lines. Now, whenever I'm connecting a line, I need a minimum of 2 touches. So that's the first obvious line and the first obvious 2 touches on the chart, right? The seller's line 1 and 2. No wonder they have been really strong, because I can see that the seller's line was very crystal clear. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get a buyer's line. And if I zoom quite in, I'll see that obviously the buyers has really had a struggle, but they have really made sure they've not been broken out of my support. So no matter what they do and they push, then they find a way to bounce whenever they enter the support range. So this tells me how important this area is for the buyers. And the good thing is they are currently in that area. Now if I look closely, I see some very important pattern that is forming. I don't know if you know this pattern. And if we look at weekly chart, we can see that this pattern is very clear on the weekly chart and is one of a very strong reversal patterns. If you don't know, it is called what? The opposite of it is head and shoulder. That is for bulls, that is for bears, but inverse head and shoulder is for bulls. And currently we are having something that similarly look exactly like an inverse head and shoulder building up in the area. Now the most important thing that really makes me take note of this pattern is the fact that it is being developed inside my support demand area, telling me that I cannot ignore this signal, right? So chances of a bounce is high at the current zone. We will look at it again. So that is the first thing I want you to take note on the weekly, the first obvious pattern. So the next thing I want to take note of is I want to go to the monthly chart. And when we are on the monthly chart, I am going to try to look at the candles this time around, because they are lesser candles and more easily to try to interpret what is going to play out. So here's the thing. Here is what I see. Now, if I try to pin down what has played out, I see that price has broken out. There was a breakout. Hold on. I want to make sure I'm getting this right. In the past, there was a breakout. Nah, this is not going to work. So there's no need of forcing anything to work. All right. So we're going to just use the candles. The lines are not going to work, obviously, because the only thing we have is prices moving like this, and there's no way that line will work. I wanted to see if we can get a broken previous, because they broke this point, right? To go and retest and get rejected again. So it's like they are on a retest now. But I will still consider that line. I will still consider that line. So if I consider that line, it will break the subject of we saying of that inverse head and shoulder, inverse head and shoulder. What is it? At worst case scenario, we have this retest continue and end up here. So they could end up here. That is worst case scenario if this line is to play out. But I want to for now disregard this line and let's not think about that aspect. Let's stay positive for now. So if you look at the chart, I will tell you here is that the candles, this particular candle right here on the weekly chart, this is a pure bullish sign, right? A pure bullish sign. The same thing happened here and all resulted from this point. So this is a three, more like a three strong bullish candle, right? So if you look here, you see the bullish sideways and a breakout. So let me show you. This is a weekly monthly chart, mind you. There was a sideways market here and there was a clear breakout. That's the bullish sign. So yes, they broke out from the down move, they are in a demand area, but then they came back for a retest, which means they got to my supply area. Remember, this is a demand area, this is a demand area, this is a supply area, and up, this is another supply area. So take note of how the box strategy work. The supply area is the resistance, the demand area is the support. So it is within the support range there was that sideways movement, which is very, very something to take note of, which means they are actually on a retest. Now since they are on a retest, have the retest been completed? If I am to draw, like I can tell you, this line here is not, is skipping the line here, and it just, that's why I said let's disregard this for now, because it will be like they, yes, they did the retest and they have returned and they have broken below it. They have broken below it, but like I said, they are still within the support area. So I am going to try to connect intraday. I'm going to call intraday in now. We're going to bring in the 4 hours and see what the 4 hours is telling us according to this breakdown that just happened here. Because there's an intraday bias line that has been broken. And this is this particular bias line. I want to make sure I draw it right. Okay. So remember, each of our line we need a minimum of 2 touches, and right here we have 1, we have 2. If I scroll, we have 3, which they pierced but they got back up, and we have 4. Now that's too many hits, right? When you have too many hits on a support, it becomes weak, right? And they broke below it. They broke below it. So there's a more like they broke, they tried to stay, they retest failure, and they dive down. Now here is the thing about this diving down that happened here. There's a little bit kind of a stop loss hunt for all those people who bought here, here, and here. So where ontology is right now, if you watch my last video, the best place to place your stop loss, let's go back to daily, is even if you're buying ontology, just for that inverse head and shoulder, because the inverse head and shoulder is so clear, is so clear. And here is where the inverse head and shoulder and this thing complete is here. This is the neckline, right? And remember, once they break this out, they'll face the neckline, retest before the move continue, right? So this is the neckline. They have to break this neckline. And if you really use my box strategy, this neckline is an area. So right, so anytime, so they could just move up, gets here. Remember, the fact that our previous support is broken, which is this support, is going to be a headache when they when they return. So when they move, even if they find a way to bounce, because the goal is that they cannot break below 0.28. Anything that goes below 0.28 will destroy the inverse head and shoulder. It means the right shoulder is completely taken out, right? So it could either be a double bottom and price goes back up. So if you are buying ontology at this price where it is, please use a stop loss. You can use a stop limit order to set a stop loss on your spot. as long as price never drops below one point, in fact, below price never drops below $2, you are in trade. And if price moves up, you'll be in trade no matter how far and how long price goes, right? Then if price moves and breaks above this, you move your stop loss from here to probably where you buy if you're buying now. But if you're in a position, I think being patient for